Hey, movie fans. The first topic I want to talk about is that the first official trailer has dropped for the new Resident Evil movie that's going to be directed by the director who did Barbarian and Weapons. I liked Barbarian, didn't love the movie. I thought Weapons was fantastic. So I've had a lot of interest in this movie just based on the fact of who's directing it. I haven't been really excited for this movie because of the fact the director has said that this movie isn't gonna adapt any particular story from the game. It's not gonna be about any of the characters from the game, so that has me a little worried. So far, though, he's had a pretty good to great track record when it comes to horror movies. When it comes to this trailer for Resident Evil, the first trailer, I like this trailer, but didn't love this trailer. It has me interested, intrigued in this movie. The things I liked about this trailer is that I like the snow setting. I think the setting looks cool with it being in the snow. It looks creepy. It looks like it has some good tense atmosphere in the movie where you really feel the tension in this movie. I like the idea of it being a self-contained story of following this one character and more of a smaller story. That sounds really intriguing and interesting. And I think it looks like it has some good horror moments. Like it could have some good jump scares and some good tension in it. And I think the lead actor in the movie is the guy who played the drug addict from Weapons. So I thought he was great in that movie. And I think the director said this movie is going to take place during the Best Resident Evil 2 or after. I'm not sure which. And that's another thing I'm kind of worried about. Like I feel like that could get tricky when you say it takes place during the events of Resident Evil 2 or after, depending on what's is true. Because I feel like when you say that, I hope that they were doing a way where it makes sense canon wise. I just feel like you could get a little messy there saying that. Overall, though, I did like the show. There was nothing bad about it. It just didn't blow me away. I wasn't like, oh man, this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I'm intrigued by the trailer. It definitely has me interested. I'm just not like, oh my god, this trailer was amazing. I didn't think the trailer was fantastic. It got me interested at least, though. The next topic I want to talk about is the first reactions for Mortal Kombat 2 has dropped online. Now, I always say this with first reactions, take them with a grain of salt. Because with first reactions, they always tend to lean more positive than negative. I'm glad the movie's getting first positive reactions. I'm also always wary of first reactions because I feel like the second reactions tend to lean more to how people are feeling. Where you get a better a better bunch of reactions. Where I feel like they're not completely leaning towards positive because like I said, the first reactions movies always tend to lean more towards positive. These reactions do sound pretty good though. I'm excited for Mortal Kombat 2. I didn't like the first one. I really love the trailers for this one though, and the trailers have made this look like this is a Mortal Kombat movie that we should have gotten with the first one. So first reaction saying Mortal Kombat 2 is a stark improvement over the first one in just about every way possible. Better fights, cooler costumes, nastier fatalities. It's all still quite campy, but hot damn, it's a gory good time. MK2 is fun as hell and the most faithful Mortal Kombat movie yet. Love hearing that. That's really fun. That it's an improvement over the first one. I'm glad to hear that when it comes to better fights, cooler costumes, and nastier fatalities. It sounds like they took the criticism of the first one and improved it, so I'm glad to hear that. And you do have a little negative there saying it's still pink campy, which I don't mind Mortal Kombat being campy. I love the original Mortal Kombat 90s film. That movie is cheesy and campy. It's done in a way though where it's just very entertaining and to me made a great movie. Like to me with Mortal Kombat, I don't mind if you have a campy and cheesy as long as it's a balance to it. Whereas campy and cheesy and serious at the same time. And I felt like the original 90s one did a great job of that way. It was campy and cheesy in a really fun way while still being serious at the same time. It sounds like this one gets that balance. Mortal Kombat 2 is the coolest effing movie of the summer. Complete perfection, very Deadly Allowance vibes, and like the 90s classic films. I love comparing it to 90s classic film because, like I said, I love that movie. If it was made today with non-stop crazy combat action, Baraka and Kano stole the show, but Jax, Liu Kang alongside Sean Khan, and Johnny Blaze deliver epic big moments. Wow, Scorpion and and Nab Sabat scenes are straight up help fest. And those hell scenes with Scorpion do look really cool in the trailer. The fights of brutal fatalities, next level Savage, Sub-Zero mythologies, plus MK full load connects perfectly. You'll see why this one flies by in a deadly adrenaline food was. And it sounds like it has a great pacing to it, so I'm glad to hear that. Like non-stop action sounds good to me when it comes to a Mortal Kombat fan. So I also like the fact it sounds like every characters get their moments in the movie. Kano, I'm not surprised. That sounds like he's one of the stands out because even though I didn't like that first movie, he was a fun character in that first movie. And I'm also glad to hear that it sounds like Sean Conn is great in this movie. Because in Mortal Kombat Alliance, which I think is one of the worst sequels ever made, I really think that movie's terrible. I know some people have it as like a so bad it's entertaining movie. I just did not like that movie at all. I thought that movie was just bad. Sean Conn, I thought came off very goofy in that movie, in the original second movie, and just I never took and that actor I thought was awful. It sounds like with this one, this is a much more better interpretation of Sean Conn. Because to me, one of the things I really loved about what I've seen from Sean Conn in the trailer for this is that he actually looks like a threat. Like he looks big, he looks like somebody you'd be imitating and scared by, which is what Sean Conn should be. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like everybody gets their moment to shine, the characters. Flawless victory. Mortal Kombat movie is next level with deadlier fights, sharper dialogue, and truly combat worthy fatalities. The Iconic Sazes outward and costumes are brought to life in incredible fashion, reminding me why MK ate so many of my quarters. Mortal Kombat 2 is a fun popcorn flick. The fights are bloodier, the stakes higher, the dramatics stronger than the previous movie. Kurt Urban's Johnny Cage brings meta comedy, while Katana gives the corners emotional weight. It sounds like Katana's the heart of the movie when it comes to the emotional part of the movie. Mortal Kombat 2 is a movie we should have gotten the first time. It feels more confident, comfortable, embracing this video game while it's a huge benefit. It's a fun, fast-paced, ridiculous bloodbath with great action. Katana is a heart of it. Kano is hilarious. Some more shout-outs to the characters of Katana and Kano was it's more saying it's a really fun, fast-paced movie. Sounds good to me when it comes to Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 2 starts a breakneck combo speed, never slows down. It's a chaotic, fatality-filled film that stays true to the spirit of the games and knows exactly what it is. Fun characters, flawed story, but fans of the first will be happy. So you do have one negative there saying the story's flawed, and I saw another reaction where it said the story's messy. It was, you know, I'm not surprised by that because Mortal Kombat doesn't have like the deepest story in the world. It's the whole idea of Mortal Kombat is that it's a tournament movie with a lot of fights, and I don't mind the story not being like real deep because at the end of the day, it's to me Mortal Kombat is about the tournament, which is one of the things I'm glad they're actually doing this one, which was to me one of the things they needed to correct in the sequel from the first movie. And here's another one. Gives fans exactly what they want. Successfully capturing the spirit of the games is filled with unweighted action and fatalities glory that had the whole theater cheering. This film is an incredibly fun time at the movies. And that reaction before this one still said it was a fun time. Same with this one. Fun film. Poses punches that matters the most, but seeing these characters on screen is still to the best of pure energy and features a long a Liu King a Liu King fight that absolutely rips. A messy wipe show, but the fan service carries it. And then one more, after getting the characters to catch Mortal Kombat, after getting a chance to catch Mortal Kombat 2, I can safely say I was still impressed. It just didn't meet my expectations. It's just see them. Compared to the first film, it's not even in contest. A sequel clearly learned from the mistakes of its predecessor and corrected them across the board. So they're all positive. Like the one thing I've seen these reactions is that people are saying the story's messy and flawed, but I'm not surprised by that when it comes to a Mortal Kombat movie. You can say that about the original '90s movie that the story is it's flawed. At the same time, I love that original '90s film. So as long as we have a tournament and we get a lot of great action and it sounds like we get that and it sounds like it's a really fun movie, then to me this sounds like the Mortal Kombat movie that the first one should have been. And it sounds like it makes all the questions from the first movie. Like one of the things that makes me excited about the sequel is that I'm glad we actually have a tournament this time, which I don't understand why they need to do the whole prelogue before the tournament. I thought that was stupid. And I like the fact we actually are focusing on a character from the game Like I don't mind. I didn't mind the first movie having a original character to make that the focus, as long as you make the original character as compelling as the characters from the games. Like that's my problem with the first movie is that Cole was just a very boring, uninteresting character in that first movie. So it sounds like this sequel improves on everything from the first movie when it comes to having a tournament, focusing on the video game characters, having some heart while still being fun and cheesy and campy at the same time. So like I always say though, you have to take first reactions from being a start. I am glad to hear this. We'll see when I go and see the movie if I feel the same way. But overall, it sounds like this is a more comic movie that I personally wanted that I wanted the first one to be. So we will see when I see the movie. The next topic I want to talk about is so a Django Unchained and a Zorro crossover movie is in development, and it's not going to be directed by Quentin Tarantino. He did give his blessing. It's going to be based on the 2014 crossover comic, and I think this is exciting news because I do love the original Max and Zorro movie, and Django Unchained is one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. So the idea of seeing those two characters teaming up. Like I think it was confirmed Jamie Foxx is coming back to play Django Unchained, so I'm glad to hear that. And I'm not sure if the Zorro that he's crossing over is supposed to be with based on like um Anthony was it Anthony Hawkins who played kind of like the mentor in the original Zorro movie. I'm not sure it's supposed to be if it's like him teaming up with that Zorro or does the Zorro of the first Master Zorro movie. So I'm not sure which Zorro is supposed to be. The comic is has him teaming up with. I think it's just exciting news because I think the idea of having these two characters like crossover, I think can make a really fun, entertaining movie. And I haven't read the comic that this movie is based or inspired by, based off of. So it sounds like concept wise, it would be a sounds like the comic is probably fun, and it sounds like it would make for a really entertaining, great movie. So I'm definitely excited with the idea of having these two characters do a crossover movie. Hopefully, it ends up being good. The next topic I'm going to talk about is so the Odyssey is going to be shorter than Oppenheimer because we only confirmed this. And when it comes to this, this doesn't make me any less or more excited for the Odyssey. Like I'm already excited for this movie. Big fan of Christopher Nolan. He's made a lot of movies that I love, and I never really get excited or less excited when I hear the length of a movie. Like if it's a really long movie or if it's a short movie. Like there's been no confirmed length for this movie yet. I know the reports going around saying the Odyssey is going to be like 2 hours and 20 minutes or 2 hours and 40 minutes. Those haven't been confirmed though. I do think the movie's obviously going to be 2 hours or something since Chris Nolan did say this is short Oppenheimer because I think Oppenheimer was like 3 hours, slightly over 3 hours. And this being short on Oppenheimer doesn't really tell me anything. Like to me, I always say this with length of movies. I don't have a problem if movies really long. I don't have a problem if it's really short. I won't know until I see the movie. So this movie being 2 hours from what it sounds like 2 hours and something, not being 3 hours, doesn't really make me any less or more excited either way. Like there's plenty of movies I love that are long. There's plenty of movies that I love that are short. There's plenty of long movies I see and go like, oh, that you could have trimmed out 15 to 20 minutes or half hour of it. And then there's plenty of long movies that I've seen where the one time didn't bother me. Like Oppenheimer was 3 hours and something. I never felt the one time in that. And then there's movies like The Irishman, which I thought was okay, where I did feel the one time in that. So until I see the movie, whatever one time this movie is gonna be, I don't really it doesn't really bother me if it's in like the lower 2 hours one time or the higher 2 hours one time. At the end of the day, I'm just excited for this movie, and Christopher Nolan to me has made a lot of great movies. So it being short and Oppenheimer doesn't make me any less or more excited for an Odyssey. Like I can't wait for this movie. The next topic I'm gonna talk about is so Spider-Man Brand New Day has had some tests. They've tested the movie. The director of Shang-Chi confirmed this that it's getting excellent test reactions for test screens for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, like first reactions for movies, I always say you gotta take test screens with a grain of salt, especially when the director's saying it's getting excellent reactions because he's a director. So, like, this doesn't really this doesn't really make me any more or less excited. Like I'm always excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day because I love the previous Tom Holland trilogy. I thought they got a great director when it comes to the director of Shang-Chi because I love Shang-Chi. And I think the trailer has been. I think the trailer looked great for this movie, so I'm glad to hear it's getting excellent reactions, test screening reactions. At the same time, it's still very early for this movie, so we'll see when I go and see if this movie ends up being great, like these test screen reactions are saying. I'm glad to hear this. I always take test screen reactions for granted, salt, like I do with first reactions for a movie. The next topic, and I believe this is the last topic I'm going to talk about. Yep, the last topic I'm going to talk about is the Authority movie has been scrapped, which was based on a DC Comics team of anti-heroes. I'm not familiar with these characters. James Gunn has confirmed it's been scrapped, and he did also say that maybe down the road it could come back to it. I'm not surprised this has been scrapped. There hasn't been any really updates about this movie, and also, from what I understand, they're much lesser known characters. And I think it makes total sense to scrap this movie because of a couple reasons. I think the fact that with the Authority, from what I heard, power set wise, this movie would have to be a high budget movie, and the fact that these are lesser known characters that nobody really knows, that for like hardcore comic book fans, I don't know if this movie would have done well if you had to make it a high budget movie. I think like another thing I think it's tougher to sell lesser known characters today than it was back then. Like I feel like back then you could do comic book movies on lesser known characters and they could hit. I feel like in today's days it's very hard, not impossible, but harder to make a high budget movie based on lesser known comic book characters. So that's one reason is that I just think you would like I think it would be too you have to make this movie a really high budget and I just don't think it would do well. Like I'm not saying that for sure. I just the fact the lesser known characters I think it was another problem with this movie. And I also think it's just too soon to do a movie about these characters, the Authority, because I feel like DC hasn't established their universe with the A-list characters. Like to me, you need to get like to me with DC right now, you got Superman going. You need to get Wonder Woman going. You need to get Batman going. To me, you need to focus on your A-list characters first, and then like down the road when James Gunn's DC has had a couple of hits under their belts, they've done a couple of movies when it comes to being well received and making money. Then I could see them doing the Authority later on when you have an established DC universe and you had a couple of movies. I just think it's too soon to do a movie about these characters that aren't really well known. And I think it's too much of a risk budget wise because these characters aren't well known. So I'm not surprised this has been scrapped. I also would say this when James Gunn made that whole God Monsters announcement, I think studios kind of went into the problem of this when you start in a universe and you make this announcement of all these different projects. I'm not surprised if some of these projects don't end up happening because stuff changes, the landscape in movies changes, or where your universe is going, or you come up with ideas where this doesn't fit maybe anymore. Like I think James Gunn said also, like the script for this wasn't where they wanted it to be. It didn't sound like it didn't really fit in his plans anymore. So stuff changes. So I'm not surprised this movie is being scrapped. I think there's multiple reasons why I think this wouldn't be the right movie to do anytime soon. I think down the road, you know, 10 years where DC has had a couple of hits, couple of movies, and gotten A-list characters. Because I look back at Marvel where Marvel didn't do Guardians of the Galaxy until after after they did a couple of movies of the more popular characters. So to me, I think with DC right now, you need to focus on your A-list characters, get those going. Then you can like down the road take some swings and misses with some unknown lesser characters. So I'm not surprised the Authority has been scrapped. I honestly didn't think this movie was going to happen personally. So, like I said, I'm not surprised that this movie isn't happening. That's all my thoughts on all the movie news today. Until next time, movie fans.